Welcome back, everyone. This is part 5 on What If Kid Asta Meets Noelle's Mother. I do not own Black Clover or any of the characters in this video. Chapter 9. I won't let someone like you hurt whoever you want, whenever you want. Fana retorted. The wind of the flames made her clothes and hair wave. Raids' lips formed a dark smile. Oh, so you want to protect this little girl, huh? Raids mocked. Go right ahead. You'll just die in the end and become one of my many corpses to play with. He snapped his fingers and a black spatial portal opened up in front of him on the ground as if he was the one who casted it. A brown mummy-like zombie with 4 purple spheres on its body stood in front of Raids. Meet number 4. Jimmy. Fana stared at the zombie, preparing herself for an attack from the zombie. However, Raids turned his attention to the little girl in the corner and sneered. But first, time to kill her. Jimmy. The mummified zombie turned its attention to the scared little girl and fired 4 purple orbs at her. Wah. The little girl cried. Shit, I won't be fast enough, Fana thought. And even if I was, that zombie sent 4 orbs at me too. Suddenly, a barrier of water formed around the little girl and the 4 purple orbs were slashed in 2. Fana glanced over and smiled at who saved her and the little girl. Asta, Noelle. Fana smiled. Thanks. No problem. Asta grinned. Now that we're here, you can focus all your power on defeating him. Noelle added. Brats. Raids snarled. Alright, fine. Protect the girl. I could care less. Jimmy. Unleash your power. Multiples of 4 orbs were fired at Fana in a rapid fire. Fana managed to dodge them. Well, almost all of them. One of them managed to hit her right cheek. Cuh. Fana grunted as blood trickled out from her wound. I'll just use flame recovery magic. Raids finished for her in a mocking tone. Oh, if only it was that easy. Sorry. Jimmy's special power is once he injures you, the wounds won't stop bleeding. You'd need an advanced healer for that. Muhahahaha. Continue your onslaught, Jimmy. The mummified zombie continued to unleash purple orbs at Fana. This is ridiculous, Fana thought as she evaded more orbs. Although, he's wrong that I can't heal these wounds. I can. He just thinks I can't. I suppose I'll keep that facade up, only to shatter his hopes later down the line. Ha 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 ha. Soon you'll bleed out and die. Raids sneered. That's what you people deserve after all. This guy is nuts. Asta frowned. Should we help her? Noelle wondered. No. Asta retorted. Let her do this on her own. If she gets in trouble, then we will step in. Noelle glanced at Asta in slight surprise, then turned back to watch the fight between Fana and Raids. Fana narrowed her light blue eyes upon seeing the slightest pause in Jimmy's attacks. There, Fana thought as wave arms, flame magic, phoenix whirlwind, Fana declared. A whirlwind of fire appeared and flew towards Jimmy. The whirlwind burned through the purple orbs then Jimmy, thus turning him to ash. What? Jimmy? Raids cried out to the ashes of number 4. Jimmy. Whoa, so cool. Asta's eyes became starry upon seeing Fana's spell. I must say, impressive. Noelle smiled while flipping one of her pigtails. Is that all? Fana questioned while her cheek wound continued to bleed. Raids soon regained his composure and laughed. Of course not. Raids sneered. I've got more for you. He snapped his fingers again and another spatial portal opened up to reveal another zombie. This one was not only in the air, it had no legs, and it had an electrical magic aura surrounding it. Meet number 2. Alfred. More like absolutely disgusting number 2. Noelle scoffed. Silence, brat. Raids snapped at Noelle who just humphed in response. Your little phoenix whirlwind won't reach Alfred. And because of that, I have the advantage over you. Now get her, Alfred. Alfred fired a lightning bolt at Fana who evaded. In the spot she was originally in was a charred hole. Asta and Noelle gasped. If Fana didn't move, then Noelle began. She'd be dead for sure. Asta finished. Within the other sections of the royal capital, the magic knights dealt with the dark disciples and the zombies. Mimosa had several plant-like cages set up for any of those that were injured. Fugolian stood in between Aesir and Noelle. These guys just won't give in. Fugolian frowned. Since defeating them isn't working, binding them will have to do, Noelle remarked before turning his mother. Mother, right. Aesir nodded as she waved her arms. Steel binding magic. Perfect cube. Suddenly, several steel cubes encased the dark disciples within their vicinity. Damn it. All the captured dark disciples thought angrily. Fugolian smiled in satisfaction, as did Noelle. Lady Aesir. Fugolian spoke. Let's take these guys to the castle's dungeon. Then we can return to the battle. No, Noelle replied. Me, Nibra and Solid will do that. You two are needed here. What? Solid and Nibra asked. We're taking these guys to the castle's dungeons, Noelle told Nibra and Solid, with some hesitation in his voice. Nibra and Solid glanced over at the dark disciples, then back at Noelle. Oh, alright. Solid groaned in defeat. Noelle created his Mercury magic eagle and got the 5 dark disciples up and onto the eagle, followed by Noelle himself, Nibra, and Solid. Once that was done, the eagle flew off towards the castle. Asir and Fugolian watched them go before turning their attention to the zombies. Chi-chi, there's so many of them. Fugolian frowned deeply. Asir used her winged steel knight spell to fight through the hordes of zombies. We don't have time to fight them, Asir replied. We must find the source. She looked and felt mana coming up ahead that was that of flame magic, along with a cold mana feeling. Let's go. Right. Fugolian nodded as he burnt through the hordes of zombies and run past them to reach an area that showed a laughing Raids, Asta and Noelle, guarding a little girl, and Fana staring Raids down. Asta, Noelle, Fana. Asir called out to them. Raids turned and grinned wickedly at the sight. Oh, 2 magic knight captains. Raids sneered. I'll enjoy killing you both to add to my collection of corpses. Alfred, get them. Alfred went to fire 2 bolts of lightning towards Fugolian and Asir. Captain Mother, Asta and Noelle cried out in unison. To their surprise, Asir and Fugolian evaded expertly, causing Noelle and Asta to sigh in relief. Should we step in? Fugolian asked Asir. Asir held a smile on her face that she almost didn't hear Fugolian's question. No, Asir replied, still smiling. This is Fana's fight. If things get rough for her, then we'll step in. Fana stared up at Alfred and evaded its lightning attacks. Alright, I can't attack him directly because Alfred will just defend him, Fana thought as she evaded another lightning blast. And my Phoenix Whirlwind spell won't reach Alfred. In that case, Fana leapt into the air, surprising Asta and Noelle, while Fugolian had a quizzical expression on his face, and Asir, with a smile. Raids just laughed. Ha 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 ha. Are you stupid? Raids sneered. But hey, if you want to die that badly, I'll gladly give you a quick death. Get her, Alfred. Flame creation magic. Phoenix wings. Fana thought as fiery phoenix wings sprouted out of her back and avoided the lightning blasts. Get her, Alfred. Raids commanded. Strike her down. The zombie fired more lightning blasts at Fana, who dodged them expertly, with the addition of the phoenix wings to give her more mobility. Eventually, Raids began to get frustrated. Come on already. Hit her. Well, she is handling herself quite well, Fugolian noted before frowning. But that wound on her cheek. If it's not healed soon, she'll bleed out. She'll be fine, Fugolian. Asir reassured the Crimson Lion's captain. Just watch. Fugolian watched as Fana unleashed flame magic, phoenix feathers, and attacked the zombie rapidly before it burned to ashes. Raids clenched his hands tightly. Damn it. Raids snarled before he recomposed himself and sneered. No matter. Guess I have to bring out number 1, Carl. A third spatial portal opened up to reveal a zombie wearing tattered, priest-like clothing on top of its mummy wrappings. Good luck getting to him. Ha 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 ha. Fana looked up to see a barrier surrounding the zombie. Barrier magic. Fana thought. It gives the owner the ability to defend and attack at the same time. She swiped her right hand from left to right to have her phoenix wings on her back to enlarge, and they placed themselves in front of Fana to form a fiery barrier of her own from the attacks Carl was unleashing onto her. Raids just continued to laugh. Ha 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 ha. You seriously think you can keep yourself guarded like that forever? Raids sneered. Eventually your little phoenix wing barrier will be destroyed, and then you. He's right. Fugolian frowned as he took a step forward, but Asir stopped him with her right arm. Lady Asir? Let's wait, Fugolian. Asir told him. Fana is not in trouble yet. But Fugolian began, but Asir raised a hand. You are the one who taught the Crimson Lions to think strategically, are you not? Asir asked him. Before Fugolian could reply, Asir continued. You also taught them to stay calm in any situation they come across or find themselves in. I understand your concern for Fana, considering she is not from Clover. But do you trust her enough to make it through this fight? Fugolian opened his mouth, then closed it. He knew Asir was right. Fana could handle raids. After all, she used fire magic like him and his siblings. But like him and siblings, Fana's fire magic techniques were different. His younger brother, Leopold, focused on pure fire magic, while as his elder sister, Mariolian, focused on a fighting style, in addition to the lion. And he, Fugolian Vermilion, focused on the lion techniques. As for Fana, she focused on the phoenix. Asta and Noelle watched from the sidelines in amazement at Fana's movements, as well as her phoenix wings barrier. Ha 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 ha. I wonder how much longer you can keep this up. Raids laughed. I should say the same thing to you, Fana retorted, confusing everyone but Asier. Suddenly, several fiery phoenix feathers cut through Carl's barrier, making the zombie groan before exploding. Raids shielded his face from the falling debris of Carl's body. No, how could this happen? Raids cried out. Fana began to stride towards Raids. You think I haven't come across barrier magic before? Fana replied. Don't play the fool here. Flame binding magic. Leo Palma. Fana turned to see Fugolian standing next to her as Raids got encased by fiery lion paws. His grimoire falling to the ground. Captain Fugolian. Fana spoke. Fugolian turned to Fana and nodded, light smile on his face. You did good, girl, he replied. Asta, Noelle and Asier approached the two. Hell yeah, she did. Asta grinned. I agree. Noelle smiled. Quite tough. The four watched Fana approach the captured Raids and noticed his grimoire on the ground. Huh? Fana thought as she picked it up, much to Raids' discomfort. Put that down. Right now. Raids cried out. Why is this so light? Fana wondered aloud before she looked down at Raids. Tell me something. Why attack the royal capital of Clover? This attack scheme seemed too well thought out, but it also seemed too quick to be a full-scale invasion. So what's really going on here? Raids stopped his pleas for Fana to let go of his grimoire and sneered. Simple. We had one target. Raids replied as he glanced at Fugolian. Which would be him? Me? Fugolian repeated. Asier frowned deeply as Fana opened Raids' grimoire up and she gasped. Only one page. Fana spoke before dropping the grimoire onto the ground. Your magic is unique and strong, but you squandered your power away to some terrorist group. Between the two of us, you are nothing. Fana clenched her hands into fists. Unlike you, who had a life of peace to become strong, I and Mars were not so lucky. For starters, I didn't know my parents. Me and Mars were orphans that grew up together. She paused, then continued, her sadness and anger taking over slowly. Did you have to fight for survival? Did you have to partake in life or death battle royales? No, then stop bitching about the fact that you were tarnished because of a social status. Raids felt himself sweat rapidly by Fana's emotional outburst. Even Fugolian, Asta, and Noelle were surprised. So it's true. Fugolian thought. Fana. Noelle whispered softly. That's just messed up. Asta retorted. Not as messed up as this. Raids sneered as a spatial portal appeared behind Fugolian. Perhaps this will lead to answers, Fugolian remarked as the spatial portal began to enclose him. Fugolian, Asier cried out. She was about to join him, but Fana was faster. Thus the two disappeared. Fana and Fugolian blinked several times before observing their surroundings. Where are we? Fana wondered. I'm not sure. Fugolian admitted. Looks like an empty room of sorts with nothing in it but white. He turned to face Fana with a slight surprised look on his face. More importantly, why did you follow me? Fana was about to reply when a figure came into view. The two turned to face who it was that approached them. The figure had gold eyes, white hair braided in the back like a bun, a crossplate piece on his forehead, white eyelashes, and wearing clothing similar to the Eye of the Midnight Sun Goons. Asta and Noelle mentioned in their report from their first mission. Both Fana and Fugolian gasped, while the figure smiled before frowning in confusion at Fana. You. The figure spoke, confusion in his voice. Why are you aiding the humans? Fana gave the figure a confused look in response to the figure's own question. Who are you? Fugolian asked. The figure turned to face Fugolian, a smile on his face once again. I am the leader of the Eye of the Midnight Sun, the figure retorted. Call me Licht. Licht, huh? Fugolian repeated before frowning. Raids said that the purpose of the attack was to get to me. Why? Because of the magic stone you have around your neck, Licht replied. That is all I require from you. In a flash of instant light, Licht was right in front of Fugolian. I only just need a second. Flame magic. Phoenix whirlwind. A whirlwind of flames intercepted Licht at the last second, thus preventing him from getting the magic stone from Fugolian's string around his neck. Licht gasped in response before clenching his teeth. Why? Why are you helping the humans? Licht spoke towards Fana. Why? Fugolian looked between Licht and Fana. He seems to know her somehow. Fugolian. But Fana does not know him. At least, from what I can see. Licht shook his head. no matter, he replied as several light swords appeared around him. Light magic. Light swords of conviction. The light swords sped towards their target at tremendous speed. However, flame creation magic. Phoenix wings, Fana announced, creating phoenix wings on her back, then swiped downward so the phoenix wings enlarged and came down in front of Fana and Fugolian and blocked the light swords in the nick of time. Licht gasped as more of his light swords appeared around him. Her mana and fire magic techniques are so similar to my friend's, Licht thought. In fact, they're practically the same. What do we do, Captain Fugolian? Fana asked the Crimson Lion's captain. Before Fugolian could say anything, the phoenix wings that was protecting the two had shattered and several light swords pierced their bodies in several places. Both Fana and Fugolian gasped and spat out blood as they crumpled to the ground. Wah! Fugolian gasped out as Licht appeared in front of him and stripped the magic stone from the string, then slashed Fugolian's right arm clean off with a light magic-created sword. Fana raised her head up slightly and moved her left arm towards Fugolian. Flame. Recovery magic. Phoenix robe. Fana whispered, thus closing the wound up. By the time she finished, the light swords that pierced their bodies and Licht was gone. Once he was, the two were enveloped by a spatial portal and the two landed on the cobblestone ground on their backs. Looks like Master got it. Valdos muttered to himself. Raids. We're leaving. What? Raids complained. Oh fine. Fugolian, Fana, Asir, followed by Asta and Noelle, ran towards the two downed mages. Are you alright? Fugolian and Fana groggily awoke. Ugh, I'm okay. Fana groaned as she sat up slowly. Even with her fire magic focusing on that of a phoenix, even she'll need to take it easy for a while. As for Captain Fugolian, he lost his right arm? Asta gasped, finishing Fana's sentence. Noelle covered her mouth, while Asir frowned deeply and knelt down to Fugolian and helped him sit up. I managed to close the wound so he wouldn't bleed out. Fana spoke up. Ugh. Fugolian groaned as he looked around. The attackers. They're gone. Yeah. Asta nodded. I think some of the dark disciples were captured though. Well, that's good. Fugolian replied, relieved. He looked down at his right arm, which was now a stump, but was closed due to Fana. He glanced at Fana and smiled lightly. I thank you. Fana felt her cheeks heat up at the small praise. You're welcome, Fana replied. But as you are now, you can't continue to run your squad. Asir frowned. I agree with you, Lady Asir. Fugolian nodded. So in the meantime, my older sister, your former student, will take my place as the Crimson Lion's captain. At least until I'm fully recover. Asir smiled, then laughed. I think you both need to go to the infirmary. Asir told the two. Considering you're still bleeding out of those other wounds. She looked over at Fana, only to see the wounds close. So her flame recovery magic. Phoenix robe closed her wounds. Asir thought. On second thought, just you need to go, Fugolian. Asir told him. Right. Fugolian nodded as he stood up slowly. Asir wrapped one of her arms around him. I'll help you, she told him. Asta, Noelle, please check on the others and see if they're alright. Asta nodded and did the magic knight salute. Yes, ma'am, Asta retorted. Noelle smiled lightly while flipping one of her pigtails. Sure thing, mother, Noelle replied. Once Asir and Fugolian were gone, she turned to Asta. Let's go, Dorksta. Right, and with that, the two ran off in the direction of the other districts in the royal. Chapter 10. Sir Julius. Valeria greeted. It's been a while since we last saw each other. Julius glanced over at Valeria and nodded solemnly, taking notice of her eye patch over her right eye socket. It has been, Valeria, Julius replied. So, you're the Wizard King, Alice spoke. Julius turned to Alice and nodded. I am. He paused, then his eyes began starry, much to Valeria's amusement. But what's your magic attribute? Please tell me. Alice's sweat dropped while Mars shrugged. Valeria laughed lightly. My magic is golden eye magic, Alice replied somewhat hesitantly. Upon answering Julius's question, Julius's eyes became even bigger stars. Can you show me one spell, please? Julius begged. Alice was about to reply, but Valeria beat her to it. Sir Julius, I believe you should focus on rebuilding chitin and healing the wounded first, she told the magic geek Wizard King. Julius's face then fell, but he still kept a smile on. Right, sorry. Julius apologized. Time reversal magic, chronoanastasis, plus time recovery magic, antistrophy. Upon declaration, Both spells went off one after another. The destruction from the battle at Chiton began to rebuild itself by a massive blue clock, as well as heal any of the injured citizens, as well as fix up Alice's armor. Soon after, the massive blue clock vanished and the citizens that got healed cheered in thanks. After Julius finished, he turned back to face Mars, Alice, and Valeria. Now that that's done, another meeting for the Magic Knight captains is taking place soon, Julius informed them. Alice, Valeria, since you two were the ones to defend Chiton, I want you two to participate in this meeting. Alice blinked. Why Sir Julius? Valeria asked. I mean sure, we defended Chiton, but we made Chiton our home. It's only natural that we'd defend it. True, Julius admitted, but I'm also requiring Fana and Mars's presence as well. Sir? Mars questioned. I'll explain everything when we get there, Julius answered cryptically. Courtney, if you would please. Oh, right sir? Courtney spoke as she opened a portal. Soon after making it, the five walked through said portal. Where is the Wizard King? Real wondered aloud as the 8 Magic Knight captains sat around the conference room table. I believe he said he needed to do something in Chiton first, Marks replied. He should be back soon, I hope, as well as the new Crimson Lions captain. I wonder who that'll be. Yami wondered. Whoever it is will have big shoes to fill. Real added. True. Charlotte nodded. I already know who is taking Fugolian's place, Assia retorted, a light smile on her lips. Fana, Asta, and Noelle beside her chair. Kek. It's your former student, Fugolian's elder sister Marioliona, right? Jack retorted. Assia glanced over at Jack and nodded in confirmation to his question about Marioliona taking Fugolian's place as the Crimson Lions captain. That's right, Assia nodded. Soon after that, the doors opened to the conference room. Coming in was Julius, Valeria, Alice, and Mars. Mars went to stand next to Fana, while Valeria and Alice stood to the side in the room. Oh good, Marks sighed in relief. I thought I'd have to contact you, sir. Easy Marks, Julius told him. I just had to fix Chiton up, along with picking up a few others, one of which is an old friend. Oh yeah? Yami took his cigar out of his mouth. And who would that be? Valeria Autumn, Julius replied. The blonde and blue-haired woman in the side of the room waved her right hand as every Magic Knight captain, as well as Asta, Noelle, Fana, and Mars. She is from the Heart Kingdom and a former spirit guardian. Former? Charlotte repeated. Gilder glanced over at Valeria and Alice. So. She's a spirit guardian, huh? Gilder thought. How fascinating. I would tell you the details, but that's not my story to tell, nor is it the purpose of this meeting. Julius continued. Valeria looked down slightly, but held her gaze at Julius and Marks. This meeting is being held due to these 2 attacks, one on the royal capital and the other on the border city between Clover and Diamond, Chiton. Suddenly, they all heard a loud banging on the doors before they were busted down to reveal a vermilion-haired woman with sharp blue eyes, one of her teeth on the right side of her mouth elongated a bit, along with wearing the Crimson Lion's robe and the House Vermilion clothing. Everyone jumped excluding Assia and Julius at the entrance or appearance of one of the most feared women in all of Clover. Hey, it's Siscolian, Yami remarked. Assia shook her head in amusement at Yami's words as he was lifted up out of his seat by a flaming lion paw. Do you seriously think my family would name their offspring so poorly? The vermilion-haired woman scowled at Yami before roughly dropping him in his chair, and she then sat down in Fugolian's chair, next to Assia. Julius chuckled softly, then his expression returned to seriousness. Now that every Magic Knight captain is here, we can start officially, Julius revealed. But before that, I introduce you to the new captain of the Crimson Lions, Marioliona Vermilion. I'm only here due to my foolish brother for getting himself caught by the enemy. Marioliona scoffed. As from what he told me, the leader of the Eye of the Midnight Sun is a mage named Licht and a wielder of light magic. I can confirm this, Fana chimed in. I was there with Captain Fugolian when Licht faced us. Kek. That's not all we need to confirm. Jack spoke up. Due to the Eye of the Midnight Sun's attack on the capital, several of the Magic Parliament members have either been injured or are being hospitalized, Charlotte added. We couldn't do anything to help them due to our own fights with the zombies and the others we fought. They call themselves Dark Disciples. I hope the Magic Parliament guys are okay, Real muttered. Oh please, Yami remarked. If anything, I'm glad they got their asses whooped. Everyone knows the magic parliament is corrupt. This attack was their wake-up call. Shrugs while he receives a few looks from the other captains. What? We all know it's true. Due to my pro-commoner cause that Sir Julius is helping me with, we can dethrone House Kira, Asir revealed. By doing that, the Kiras will be nothing more than mere figureheads. I am not one for prideful nobles or royals. Oh wow, looks like you have everything figured out, Yami remarked nonchalantly. I'm all for it, Marioliona agreed. Let's get back on track please, Marx retorted. Sir? Yes. The 2 attacks. Julius nodded. These 2 attacks have taught us something, that we are not strong yet to handle the threats ahead. For example, the Eye of the Midnight Sun. They are a terrorist group seeking what appears to be magic stones. That was what they were after when they attacked the capital. Fugolian had it around his neck. I noticed, Marioliona grumbled. As for the second attack, Julius turned his gaze to Valeria and Alice. I believe it's best that you do explain it. All the magic knight captains turned to face the 2. While Alice felt sweat trickle down her face, Valeria held a stoic expression. 3 shining generals attacked Kaiden in hopes to gain full access to Clover. Valeria began. We had some assistance from the Purple Orca squad. Some assistance? Gilder thought. It was my squad that led them away to be captives. Alice then stepped forward to add on to the explanation. Since the dwarves that live there made me the guardian of Kaiden, I made it my duty to protect it, Alice added. And that's what I did. As a token for doing that for them, they made me a suit of armor that keeps my magic contained. Just like these special glasses I wear. She took them off to show them, then put them back on. Another thing, sir. Valeria spoke up. Julius wondered and thought. You are aware of the stage system that the Heart Kingdom uses, yes? Valeria continued. I am, Julius confirmed. Well, I believe that system should be used here as well, if that's all right with you. Julius smiled in approval, while Marx groaned. That means more paperwork for me to make for you to sign, Marx told Julius. He then recomposed himself. Regardless, I believe it to be better than the system we have currently. He turned to Valeria and added, You'll have to explain it to us whenever you're free, but not now. There's more, Valeria continued. I will say it right now so I don't forget to. You see, we spirit guardians and the Heart Queen use runes to boost the power of spells, since our magic attributes are all nature focused. For example, I am an earth magic spirit guardian, or rather, former spirit guardian now. The method is called Mana method. Julius's eyes slowly became sparkles, much to everyone's amusement and Marx's irritation. Sir, focus. Marx snapped. Sorry. Julius apologized, but his eyes were still starry. I know this is so off topic but, sir I swear, Marx groaned. In an instant, Julius was next to Fana and Mars, much to the DE's surprise. What's your magic attributes? And, there it is. Marx groaned. Fana became nervous, while Valeria just chuckled. Don't worry, you'll get used to his excitement eventually, Valeria assured the Pinkette. Fana and Mars just laughed awkwardly. I have fire and crystal magic, Fana spoke softly, as does Mars, but fire is my main affinity, while crystal is Mars's main affinity. Oh man, 2 magic affinities at once? Julius beamed. Amazing. Not really, Marioliona scowled. They only have 2 affinities because of Morris's cruel experiments on children in the Diamond Kingdom. But from our spy reports, the guy was arrested after someone called the government on him. Yes, Asir nodded, frowning. Still, it is disturbing. Fana's rant at raids confirmed this. Diamond Kingdom, as it stands, is a hellish place to live in. She glanced at Fana and Mars sympathetically. No wonder you two left. Personally they were handed their shining general rank due to such experiments. Marioliona scowled deeply. They say a shining general's power is equal to that of a magic knight captain in Clover. Unfortunately for Marx, Julius got even more excited. Then why don't we let these prove their worth? Julius smiled. Fana gasped. What do you mean? Oh dear. Marx put a hand to his forehead. Sir please, will you be cameo think? Please. Julius said way too fast for Fana's full understanding. Well, Fana began. Now hold on. William spoke up. We still have the attacks to discuss. Oh, those can wait, Julius replied dismissively. I know we need to become stronger in order to handle what's ahead, but this is too good to pass up. And you think this is wise? Marioliona raised an eyebrow. I'm sorry, I can't agree to this. Kek. I'm fine with it. Jack grinned. Besides, it'd give me someone to fight other than Yami. Excuse me, Green Bean? Yami scoffed. Plus we need another female captain among the Magic Knights. Dorothy agreed with a nod as she slept. If it means I get another excuse to make you push past your limits, then it's cool with me, Yami remarked nonchalantly. I'm in agreement as well. Asir smiled. Gilder frowned deeply. This doesn't look good, but no matter. I can use this to my advantage. Gilder thought. Ahoo-hoo. I like this idea as well. Real grinned. I agree. Gilder nodded. Ha ha ha. More business for me. William frowned deeply. Allowing a 10th Magic Knight squad could be a problem. But if I don't play the part, I'll be found out. So, out of reluctance, I too agree. William nodded. Marioliona scowled and crossed her arms. While I don't like it, every other captain agrees. So I will too. Marioliona replied. Wonderful. Julius beamed. So, what will you name your squad? I am the captain? Fana stuttered in surprise. You are. Julius nodded. How about Amber Phoenix? Mars suggested. Julius' smile widened while Asta grinned. Yeah, that's a great squad name, Asta retorted. It fits the theme the other squads have going. Mars nodded in agreement. That's what I was going for, Mars remarked. Plus the phoenix is a symbol of rebirth. Noelle smiled. I like it. Fana held Mars' hand, much to his surprise. Asir just giggled upon noticing. Guess Noelle and Asta aren't the only ones I'll be playing matchmaker with, Asir thought. Marx pinched the bridge of his nose before turning his attention to Yami. Captain Yami, we're going to have to borrow Vanessa to make the Amber Phoenix squad robes, Marx told the muscular captain. Yami shrugged in response. Marx groaned again. I'll give her the best alcohol and 20 gold stars for this. Now you got a deal. Yami grinned. Now the meeting is adjourned, Julius told them. The captains all left, along with Asta and Noelle with Asir. Fana, Mars, Valeria, and Alice were about to follow the three, but Fana, Mars, Valeria, Alice. The four stopped and turned to face Julius. Yes, Fana asked. I know of a few locations that'd be good for a new Magic Knights HQ. Julius smiled. I can give you a look at each one and you decide which one works for you. Fana nodded. That'd be great, thank you. Fana smiled happily. And since your squad is just you two at the start, I think it's best that Valeria and Alice join you, Julius told them. Considering what the Phoenix represents and all, Alice and Valeria glanced at each other, then at Fana and Mars. I'd love to join your squad, Valeria replied, and maybe I can redeem myself in my eyes. Valeria thought, sure, I'll join, Alice replied. We'll have to tell my dwarf friends that my job is changing, but I'm certain that they'll approve. Great, Julius beamed. I'll create posters and put them across the kingdom to help you recruit members. Double quotes ... a T an undisclosed location. Licht stared at the stone tablet that he placed the red magic stone he got from Fugolian into said stone tablet. Valtos stood next to him. Master Licht, aren't you worried about those dark disciples being captured? Valtos questioned. Licht pinched the bridge of his nose. While it is concerning, they will not reveal anything by will, Licht retorted as he turned to face Valtos. There is another magic stone in a dungeon. Since we cannot afford to lose more people, I shall go myself. You can accompany me if you'd wish. Valtos bowed. Anything for you, Master Licht. Licht's lips formed a smile at Valtos's words as they proceeded to leave the stone tablets area. End of chapter 10. Link down to the comments if you want to read the rest of the story. I hope you all enjoy. Goodbye.